So it's officially been 1 week of the NBA playoffs, and it's been interesting to say the least. I don't want to say that my predictions from my last video were wrong, but they were definitely wrong. And I was right about these playoffs being entertaining. The ratings are down 30%, but for me, they've actually been the most interesting in a while. And I get that most of the ratings are down because of LeBron not being in the playoffs, but I don't know why this year's playoffs just seem so interesting to me, because I think part of it has to do with the big question being in the East, where everyone thought that the East would be such a weak conference now with LeBron being gone, but it's actually been interesting and everyone's been, trying to figure out who will make it out of the East. And obviously I made a video about that, but my predictions have changed. And obviously I got some predictions from my last video wrong. What is going on, guys? It's Maz here, and today I want to give you guys 5 takeaways that I have from this first week in the NBA playoffs. To me, these are just the 5 main stories that I got from the playoffs so far in this 1 week, and I wanted to just talk about them and give you guys my thoughts on, all of the situations that I have on this list. So without further ado, thank you for supporting the channel, and let's get started. So first off, I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets. Now, in my last video, I said this: I feel like there's no way the Spurs right now, with what they have, are going to have enough to defeat this young team with the amount of talent they have. And I was wrong, to say the least. I don't know why. I just thought that with the young guys that the Nuggets had, I thought that they would be able to really, make a strong statement and potentially make it to the conference finals. And I thought that, this series against the Spurs wouldn't be as close as I thought it would be. But I guess I'm wrong, because the Spurs, as of now, are up 2-1. Last night they played, and Derek White all of a sudden just dropped 37 out of nowhere. I mean, it's all impressive too. I really think I underestimated the Spurs, because I really thought that they didn't have that fire that they've had in years past. But I guess I'm wrong, because, DeMar DeRozan is still a talented player, even though he's not an all-star this year. We forget who he is. He's still one of the top, shooting guards in the league. He's still insanely talented. LaMarcus Aldridge has always been a very consistent player, an all-star too. And the other guys around them don't really suck. I mean, obviously we can talk about Derek White, but the other guys around them aren't that bad either. And I guess I just thought that the Nuggets had more talent and more passion, and I guess that's why I had them over the edge against the Spurs. But it seems like the Spurs are giving the Nuggets a run for their money, and I want to say that the Nuggets could still pull it out, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point if the Spurs can somehow take the series. The argument now is that the Nuggets were just, one of those regular season teams that does really well in the 82 games, and then come playoff time, they kind of just fall apart. And I can understand that argument, because the Nuggets are a young team that don't really have as much playoff experience. I think for most of these guys, it's their first playoffs. And I thought that they would still be able to, edge it out, but it seems like the Spurs are able to, do it. And you forget that Greg Popovich always has some magic under him, because no matter who's playing under his system, he still manages to make it work. And I feel like that's what we're seeing right now with San Antonio. I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs actually end up taking the series. I guess, that's one of those predictions that I got wrong. So Oklahoma City, what is going on? In my last video, I did say that the Blazers were going to be able to edge it out in this series, but after these past 2 games, it doesn't seem like it's going to be an edge out, more than a sweep in my opinion. I think we all just really underestimate just how good Lillard is. I mean, he was just unstoppable last game. He was raining it from 3, he was getting in Westbrook's head. It was just he's just one of the best point guards in the league, and I feel like when you talk about top point guards, he's not really in the conversation. And that's a mistake that I make, because we all know how Lillard is. We all know that he's just a super talented guy, but when you think about the best in the league, Lillard isn't always in the conversation. And I think that sucks, because if you look at the way he's been playing in these past 2 games, he should be in the conversation. The magic that we saw with Paul George just went away. He's just breaking everything. The triple-double magic from Westbrook is just not doing anything. These 2 guys were playing incredibly well in the regular season, and once now it's playoff time, they've just kind of fell off. And I didn't think that would happen as much as it did. I honestly thought that Westbrook and Paul George would be able to take their magic in the regular season and take it into the playoffs and make a run for the conference finals, but it seems like they're not even going to get out of the first round. So from the looks of it, my prediction is going to be slightly right, because I did have the Blazers winning the series, but I didn't think it was going to be I thought it was going to be a 7-game series. I didn't think that it would be a damn near sweep. So it's going to be interesting to see how this series plays out, but you know, Oklahoma City, it's not looking good. Now, I want to talk about this whole thing with Amir Johnson on his phone during game 1 of the playoffs. Like, everyone had something to say when Doris Burke made those comments. And to an extent, I can understand it because, you know, it's an NBA playoff game. And it's probably not a good idea to just be on your phone on the bench. And it is against the rules in the league, so that is going to be like a fine, or you're going to get in trouble for that. So you can't just be getting away with that kind of stuff. And I get that. But does it deserve the outrage that it got? I really don't know. Like, I want to say yes, because obviously if you're on your phone during a playoff game, you're not paying attention to the game. Your head's not fully in the game. It's just a distraction. And when you're in the NBA playoffs and you're trying to compete for a championship, the last thing you should be doing is pulling out your phone on the bench. And I get that. But then again, don't we all do that kind of thing? Like, I know for myself, when it was March Madness, in my classes, I was just sitting in the back of the class and I had my laptop pretending that I was taking notes, but I was really watching the games. And to be fair, I am on my phone a little too much during my classes. So, you know, that you get a lot of trouble for that if you're on your phone during class, or if you're being distracted during work. Like, if you're a cashier, you can't be making transactions while being on your phone. Like, you can't. So I get why, like, Doris Burke and others were making such a big deal out of this, because it is kind of a big deal when you're an NBA player and you're getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball and you're sitting on the bench on your phone, and it's against the rules and you should be getting the consequences for that. But I don't think it deserved that much outrage, and I don't think it was honestly that big of a deal, because if you think about real life situations, we all do it. And I feel like, you know, we're all guilty of just, like, you know, hiding and looking at our phone in our pockets. Like, should our standards be different because he's an NBA player? I don't want to say yes or no to that. So I don't know. The whole thing is just confusing for me, but I kind of get the argument that Doris Burke was trying to make earlier. But, you know, that's just kind of what I thought about it. You know, you can let me know what you think. It's going to be, you know, everyone's going to have their different opinion on it. Okay, I want to talk about this Clippers comeback, because this thing is amazing. So, funny story, I was watching the game when it happened. It was game 2, I believe. And I was watching the game, and the Warriors were up around 30. And I thought that, okay, this is, you know, the Warriors have this in the bag. There's no way they're going to lose this game. They're up 30. And when they're usually up by a big margin, they always somehow manage to increase the lead. So, you know, I was like, okay, this game is over. And I went to bed because I had to get up early the next day. So I wake up in the morning, check my Twitter, and everyone is going crazy. Because I'm checking the tweets from the night before when I went to sleep. And everyone's talking about, how did the Clippers do it? They made the comeback. They were down 31, 3-1. It's a coincidence. Like, if you scroll through my Twitter, that was all I saw. And I was like, no way, how did this happen? I went to the House of Highlights YouTube channel and I saw the highlights. And I was like, oh my goodness, how did they do it? Like, the Warriors just fell apart, and Lou Will and the other guys on the Clippers just turned it up, and they won. So my prediction about the Warriors sweeping was dead wrong, because I mean, everyone, like, you can't even put it on me, because I can tell you basically everyone had the Warriors sweeping this series. No one had them genuinely winning one game, and not only did they win a game, but they came back down 31. I mean, it's just crazy how it happened. Like, I didn't think that the Clippers could do that kind of thing, and I knew that they had talented guys, but I didn't think that they would be able to match up against the freaking Warriors. And to be fair, it does suck that DeMarcus Cousins did get injured, and he is done for the year, which really does suck, because he signed for the Warriors on a one-year deal to make a run for a championship, and in his second game in the playoffs, he's done. Like, that sucks, you know. Like, as much as people hate DeMarcus Cousins, you gotta feel for the guy, because, you know, you signed and you committed to making a run for a championship this year, only to get hurt. No one wishes those kind of injuries on anybody, so, you know, it's unfortunate, but man, this Clippers thing is just crazy. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Celtics. So the Celtics are up 2-0 right now as I'm recording this, and I really didn't think that the Celtics could make it as easy of a series as I thought, because I really thought that the Pacers were talented and that they were able to, you know, give the Celtics, you know, a chance at an upset. And they had those chances, you know. both of the games were pretty close and they came down to the wire, but you know, somehow the Celtics were able to pull it out at the end. And a lot of it has to do with Kyrie Irving, because if you look at game 2, you know, the Celtics didn't really have a chance to win because the Pacers really were like making their shots, they were hitting their threes, and they were going on a run, and it didn't look like the Celtics were going to be able to catch up. But you know, Kyrie makes the comeback, he, you know, does his thing, he does his magic, he drops 37, Jason Tatum hits the 3 that seals the deal, and when it's time for the Pacers to, you know, tie the game or go for the win, they make these silly mistakes like throwing it out of bounds and dropping it or like whatever. Like they made these stupid errors and it costed them the game. I thought that the Celtics had the least chance to make the finals because of how they played in the regular season. I didn't think that, you know, their struggles would change in the playoffs, but I guess I was wrong. And Kyrie's one of my favorite players, and I guess I kind of forgot just how good he is. Now, could this all change when they play Milwaukee? Yeah, but I don't know. I could see the Celtics pulling it out. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like. I kind of just wanted to talk about, you know, the biggest stories kind of about, you know, this playoffs. It's been a week and it's been really fun to watch. So yeah, it's just been, you know, these stories were interesting and a lot has happened, and obviously, you know, we get the memes and we get the videos and they're all fun. And I have to say, it does suck to see LeBron not in the playoffs. It just doesn't feel right. And you know, it does suck that ratings are down, but I don't know, I'm having fun with it. So with that being said, thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe as I hope to continue to make consistent videos like this. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.